Hi, my name's Emily. I am a early elementary education major and I want to be a teacher. I have yet to get my library card. After I make this video, I'm planning to get one right now because thankfully there's still enough time that the library doesn't close till 8 on Wednesdays. So yeah, I remember my first experience reading as a child was back in I remember reading really young, like 3, 4 years old, and just my mom reading Goodnight Moon to me in bed so many times. I remember being read to from different adults too, like my stepdad or my grandma, like in the living room. And then as I got older, my mom would often read her own books in the living room as well. And now as an adult, I love reading in my room, just having a good book, just curled up in my bed. Yeah, so I think being read to as a child in bed definitely influenced how I read now. That's kind of where I do all my journaling. It's where I do all my reading for school, except for the times where I really want to focus. And when I really want to focus, I sit in the kitchen at the table. So, I think that reading aloud to children is super important. I think that's kind of what that developmental stage as a child is super important in reading and in literature. What else? And I think it kind of helps creates a story. I mean, you're reading a story to a child, and it kind of comes to life a lot more than just reading it, and not being able to comprehend that just yet. And yeah. So in Grimby's the origins of children's literature, in the first historical genesis of children's literature as a commercial product, I kind of correlated that to just as a commercial product to where I see in my workplace, which is I am a substitute paraprofessional for children with autism, and they have books on potty training, on how to behave in class, and I'm sure there's so many different other ones around the world as well, but that kind of reminds me of John Newberry's book, A Little Pretty Pocketbook, and infuse education and entertainment. And then the second idea that children's literature has naturally developed from a culture of adult to child storytelling. Mothers back then would basically, homeschool their kids because it was way, long time ago, 19th century, even before. And basically, it didn't, hold on. They are often exposed to storytelling that was just made for adults, and such as fairy tales, myths, and epics, and so many different things. And it showed persistence in developing that children's literature. And then you see kids now even reading Harry Potter books at 3rd grade. So it's still relevant to now. And then the biographical accounts surrounding the conception of individual books. Like I said, children's literature started from parents creating books for their children and making that individually, and then I should have wrote down the person's name, but there is a mother that made books for her 2 boys, and that they were both in the stories themselves, and then she never made them for publication. It was always made for them specifically, and then that book ended up selling to millions. And then I had put down a C.S. Lewis quote that was in that, and in the origins of children's literature, and it said it started from parent to child with publication only an afterthought, and that's kind of like what I was saying. I loved the Mother Goose rhymes so much. I remember them as I was driving to school. My grandma would pick me up, and then I had my cousin and my brother who were 7 years younger than me, and we'd play those in the CD in the car through the CD she had, and I recognized many of those: Hot Cross Buns, Baba Black Sheep, and I think it played an important role in children's literature, which they could have been made biographically, parent to child, kind of similar to the third part of the origins of children's literature, and what else? It could have been even sung as a lullaby as well. I totally see that happening, and yeah, I'm excited for the class, as I think it's gonna be really cool. A little afraid about how much I have to read. I do love reading, but oh my goodness. But I think it's going to be really, really good. And I'll see you guys around.